Even Figgy gives it 2 paws up. Hi, I'm Haley, and this is Undercover Treasure, where I find great literature and invite you to peek under the covers of a book you may not have read yet. Today's hidden gem is one of my all-time favorite books, Franny and Zooey. Author J.D. Salinger wrote this book in 2 separate parts, each of them published in the New Yorker magazine. You may recognize J.D. Salinger. That's a name that many high school students kind of dread from a book that you either love or hate, and you're often forced to read in high school, The Catcher in the Rye. So even though Catcher in the Rye is probably his most popular work, the truth is Salinger primarily wrote short stories, and those are now printed together as collections. Many of those short stories center around members of one fictional family, the Glass family in New York, and their children. Today's particular novel focuses primarily on 2 of those brilliant kids. You guessed it, Franny and Zooey. For just a quick synopsis, here's what happens. Franny Glass is a college student who starts finding dissatisfaction with her studies, her teachers, her boyfriend who just doesn't get it, and even herself. She's a stage actress and is finding it hard to feel motivated, wondering if everything people do in arts and academia is all about ego. Thinking herself in circles, she has a mental breakdown and goes home to her parents in New York City. There, her big brother, Zooey, is a film actor and still lives at home. Everyone is worried about Franny, and her mom can't get chicken soup to snap her out of it. She asks Zooey to figure out what's going on with Franny, and most of the book relies on a conversation between the 2 siblings. There's humor, tough love, sarcasm, religious debate, and just when it seems nothing will ever make sense for Franny ever again, there's a stumbling upon a simple idea that serves as an epiphany. And that is what makes for a perfect coming-of-age story. But what exactly is a coming-of-age story? I mean, everyone lucky enough to stay alive is coming of age, right? What does it mean? What age? What is a coming-of-age story? Well, a coming-of-age story deals with the themes of transition, from childhood to adulthood, from naivety to wisdom. Often that's through some life event or a revelation, an epiphany. The esteemed late Kenneth Millard, senior lecturer in the Department of English at the University of Edinburgh, wrote on contemporary American fiction and the genre of coming of age. He said something that marketers and social critics everywhere know to be true. Adolescents are at the forefront of social change. He goes on to say, the relationship of value is especially relevant to an adolescent because they have the potential to reconfigure existing social structures and institutions, effectively changing society. So the transition to adulthood is epic in meaning, not necessarily just for the individual, but because of the outward effects of that change. When it comes to defining the coming-of-age genre, Millard has something really interesting to share. The word genre comes from the Latin genus, meaning family. He said, it might be argued that each adolescent grows up to constitute his or own family in the future, thereby even changing the genre what might term family. That's big stuff. So if the defining aspect of a coming-of-age story is that transition from childhood to adulthood through epiphany, what is an epiphany? According to Merriam-Webster's definition, an epiphany is a sudden, profound realization or understanding of something, often a simple and striking event that reveals its essential nature or meaning. Think of all the coming-of-age stories you've seen in books and movies where the young hero realizes the answer was within them all along.
What have you learned, Dorothy?
Dorothy realizes there's no place like home. Barbie realizes, well, a lot.
So being human's not something I need to ask for or even want. It's something that I just discover I am.
That being real is something inside her. She just has to be. These are epiphanies. So I first read this book in my early 20s. It was given to me as a gift. A friend of mine correctly deduced that I might relate to the protagonist of this book. And I think all of you who are super readers, you're definitely going to relate to Franny. For that matter, I think everyone goes through a time where you're questioning who you are and what your place is in the world, who you want to be as an adult. I know for myself, I really wanted to learn how I could grow into an adult who was compassionate and civic-minded while still being aware of my own needs. And I think, you know, the world's pretty bleak sometimes. It's troubling and it's difficult to find your own place within it. And on that front, the world is no different for Franny in the 1950s. She's going through the same thing most all of us do. The transition between childhood and adulthood, it's not as easy as just turning 18 or graduating from high school. It looks a little different for everyone. It doesn't just follow a straight line, and it doesn't happen overnight. That transition period can really be rough. According to the World Health Organization, globally, 1 in 7 10 to 19-year-olds experiences a mental disorder, and that accounts for 15% of the global burden of disease in that age group. Depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders are among the leading causes of illness and disability among adolescents. So it's no surprise that there would be a big need to address the reality of this part of life and the difficulties involved. We're getting to know our changing selves and trying to find meaning and connections while we live in a world with a lot of division. Man, there's just a lot to alienate us when we already feel like aliens in our own body during puberty. So coming of age really means finding some terra firma, or ground beneath your feet, to gain that confidence and wisdom to know which way you're going. And coming of age stories show us how other people arrive at that place of epiphany. What's really cool is that this coming of age genre stays interesting and useful throughout your life as you kind of reflect back on what kind of made you you and what you might want to do to change your outlook on life now. Ultimately, I highly recommend you read Franny and Zooey. Even Figgy gives it 2 paws up. It's a beautiful example of how a coming-of-age story can help someone identify or reimagine what they want their purpose to be and what their place is in the world. The final message that gives Franny her peace of mind, her epiphany, is both funny and just really beautiful. And while it does have some religious context, you don't need to be religious in order to appreciate it. Maybe it could be a key to your own peace of mind. Another little bit of treasure to hold inside you when our troubles just get too expensive. So take your own little look under the cover and let me know what you think. Is there a coming of age story that you can think of that really affected your life? The more we share, the better off we all are. So let me know, and I'll see you next time.